broadcast. Now, the implementation of competence-based curriculum, that is CBC, faces a mountain of hurdles from understaffing, inadequate infrastructure to competence of teachers. But the teachers can now breathe a sigh of relief after the government lifted one load off their shoulders in a move that is geared towards eliminating duplication and overlaps across the various levels of basic education. Learning areas for lower primary have been reduced from 9 to 7. Upper primary will have 8 learning areas down from 10, and learners in junior secondary school, that is JCC, will undertake 9 subjects as opposed to the previous 14. Maintaining key subjects like English, Kiswahili, Kenya Sign Language, mathematics, and religious education. And to help me dissect this conversation is Dr. Mutahi Miricho, that is the Kiswahili author of CBC books. Well, Doc, thank you so much for making time to talk to KUTV.
Thank you very much. I feel privileged to participate in this program.
Okay. Now, Doc, real quick, when you look at, the number of, rather the reduced, subject, some from 14 to 9, well, I want to get your reaction on this one. So what do you think of this particular move by the Ministry of Education and, of course, government in particular?
This is a great move because it is going to benefit very many stakeholders. The learners will benefit greatly because the load has been reduced, and therefore the pressure has also been reduced. The parents who support in providing resources will also be relieved because they will provide less resources because the subjects have been reduced. And therefore, there is a cut on the expenses. The learners in junior secondary will benefit a lot because a major gap has been sealed where the learners in junior secondary, where they learn abroad of many subjects, they run many subjects so that they can choose a certain pathway to follow in senior school. But what has been happening is that when we had the optional subjects, it didn't give opportunities to some of the learners, especially those who would have wished to choose the arts and the social sciences pathway. There are 3 pathways, as many of us know. We have the social science, the STEM, the arts, and the sports. But now, the arts and sports comprises subject is...
Doc, we want to see you, can you kindly lean back a little bit so that we can actually, see you as even you take us through this very important topic. All right, that is perfect, Doc. Now you can proceed with your insight regarding this reduced number of subjects.
Yeah, thank you very much, Auma. What I was trying to say is that at junior secondary school, the learner is exposed to a wide range of subjects so that they can discover their talents, they discover their abilities, so that they choose a certain pathway in senior school. One pathway that was privileged, that was disadvantaged before the rationalization is the arts, sports, sciences pathway, because subjects that a learner needed to learn to prepare for that pathway included the optionals, which were art, visual arts, performance.
All right. Well, Doc...
if a school did not offer those ones, it meant that...
all right. Yes. Doc, when you take a look at... when you talk about, the number of reduced subject and, of course, the advantages that comes with it, well, we still have a myriad of challenges that faces this, the competence-based curriculum, that is CBC. When you look at, lack of infrastructure, we have the understaffing, and of course, these are many issues that actually should, be tackled so that this education can actually serve its purpose. So the question that many people are asking, so what difference does this, reduced number of subjects make if we still have the existing problem that many think that this could actually be the main reason why the implementation of this particular CBC could take maybe a little bit longer before its initial purpose can actually be achieved?
The government is going to save a lot of money, actually billions of shillings, because the number of books that will be provided to the schools by the government has been reduced drastically, and therefore this money could go into funding other areas in CBC. And therefore, this is a major achievement. At the same time, the TSC, we have had an issue with the number of staffing, and therefore with the reduced subject, we also need less teachers, and therefore even the training and the capacity building of the teachers will be easier now that the number of subjects has reduced, the teachers required will reduce, and the government is also going to save, like we have said, billions of shillings in terms of the books that it provides to schools, and that is money that will go into making other things easy to implement in CBC.
All right. Well, this is good, and for many, it's fair to say maybe this is just a drop in the ocean. And of course, now it's bringing up very, the wide discussion about, the implementation of this CBC. And let me get your view on this. Do you think maybe we rushed too soon to actually implement this CBC system of education without actually taking into account some of these, the particular problem that we are tackling right now? Do you think maybe we rushed too soon for this CBC?
I don't really think so, because this CBC started way back in 2017. And 2018, there was a piloting, which continued into 2019 when CBC was fully implemented. But what I want to underline is that KICD, the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, which is charged with the curriculum development, has been listening, and the Ministry of Education has also been listening to the voice of the people, to the many things that people say, and that is what led to the formation of the Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms and the new government led by Dr. Ruto. And this Working Party went out collecting views from people, and what now we are seeing is a response to all what people have been saying, and therefore we can say that it was not hurried, because it has been implemented gradually. Now we have not yet reached the senior school. We have been going from pre-primary gradually like that, and more importantly, putting into consideration what people are saying.
All right. Well,
yes.
Okay, Doc. When you take a look at the transition from now we are heading somewhere close to actually the senior secondary school, but I want you to take me through this particular journey, the way it has been, and in your own account, how would you describe this system of CBC so far?
It has been evolving. Because it started with a situation where we had early years education, which was pre-primary 1, pre-primary 2, grade 1, grade 2, and grade 3. Then we had the middle school, which was upper primary and the junior secondary, and then senior school. But after considering so many things, we have changed this one to pre-primary 1, pre-primary 2, primary education of 6 years, junior school, and then junior, and then senior school. Therefore, a learner goes to pre-primary. After in pre-primary, we are interested in development of literacy and numeracy.
Okay.
Which goes also to lower primary. Therefore, if you look at the lower primary, the language, there is an emphasis on the languages, including indigenous language, which is very important. Most of our young people have lost identity in that they are not even able to speak their own indigenous language, and therefore they cannot connect well with the extended family members. And even when it comes to some careers like politics, it becomes a challenge if you don't speak the language of your community. You also get into other culture, like culture that is not your own culture, because you have lacked identity. But therefore, I think with the emphasis of indigenous language alongside Kiswahili and English in rural primary, this is going to help a lot.
Okay.
And then the other thing is that at junior secondary, like I already said, we have the government has been trying to endeavor to make that bit where the learner is going to identify their talents, interests, and potential. And that is why we have more subjects there than any other.
Fair enough. Well, I want to actually, draw you back to the real discussion here. The reason why we are actually having this discussion. When you take a look at, some of the reasons why we have the reduced number of subjects, it's because one teacher was actually dealing with, a lot of subject at one time. And this, as a very key stakeholders in this, competence-based curriculum system of education, do you think our teachers are well equipped to actually handle, our learners in this, CBC system of education, Doc?
What has happened is that there have been some overlaps in some learning areas, and therefore, this means that you might find something in home science, which is also related to something in health education or agriculture, and therefore that is why these learning areas have been integrated, reducing the overloads and the overlaps. Okay. Now, the teachers, apart from the particular subject they teach, they have also been exposed to many of these subjects when they were in secondary schools themselves. It's only that in the university or college, they specialized in a certain area, but it doesn't mean that they forgot the other areas. In fact, most of the teachers are such that if a teacher is a social sciences teacher, that teacher, so long as they are able to read and understand what is required, they can teach. If, for example, we have a CRA teacher, for example, or a history teacher, this teacher, if it's a CRA teacher and has not done history in the university, and probably they did it up to Form 2, they actually can read history and understand and be able to teach. Okay. What is important is that a teacher is able to read. In CBC now, we are not giving the learner content. Okay. The teacher, what is important on the part of the teacher is the teacher to enable the learner be able to do the activities and develop their own learning. All right. Through the various activities.
Fair enough, Doc. Now, because we are running out of time, Doc, I want you to actually, even as we wind up this particular discussion, there is a matter that currently, right now, might actually, threaten the very, very existence of this, CBC. I'm talking about teachers, or rather, should I call them intern teachers, who are demanding to be employed and, on permanent basis and be, put under pensionable. Well, they have threatened to strike, and this is something that maybe if that happens, then they might derail this, CBC system of education. So give me your account on this, even as we wind up this particular discussion, and as you, give us the way forward, what you think should be done to actually improve this system of competence-based curriculum.
That is part of the process of getting hired by the TSC. To as an intern for a period of time, and then when the time comes, you are considered. And currently, even part of those who are interns have already been considered and absorbed into permanent and pensionable basis in TS. They're already employed as permanent pensionable, and therefore there is a lot of hope that those who are remaining, like the TSC CEO said, by next year they will be absorbed.
All right. By next year, well, we'll wait and see what will happen. And of course, I will give you this, 1 minute to actually, for your closing remarks, Doc.
I want to appeal to all of us now that the 844 has already been phased out, at least in the primary, and a bit of it is remaining in secondary, to embrace CBC, because the main thing with the CBC is what the learner is able to do. It's not how much it knows. And therefore, that is why even it is not how much a teacher can give in terms of content, but how much we can help the learner do the activities and be able to do things. And therefore, we want even to ask the parents to allow the learners to do the various activities they are given. If a learner is asked to sew something at home as an assignment, they should not take that one to the tailor or do it themselves as parents, but they should let the learner struggle with it until they are able to do it.
Okay.
Because it is not, a learner should do it perfectly at the first. It is a process of learning. So CBC is about what we are able to do and how we are able to apply it in life. Because as you know, all of us are what we are because of how we are able to apply what we learned in school.
All right. Fair enough. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Mutahi Miricho. That is Kiswahili author of CBC books, and of course your insight on this particular very important topic we really appreciate, and many thanks for creating time to have this particular discussion with us. Now